Hello, this is Colin with bMobile, and I would like to show you some basic Android navigation tips just for using an Android device in general. Maybe nothing really bMobile specific, but we have a lot of users who maybe haven't used an Android. Maybe they're from an iPhone background or Apple products, things like that, or just aren't used to utilizing the device to the extent that sometimes we use it with our application. So a couple just basic navigation tips of the Android operating system itself. I am just on the home screen of my device. I'm using a Samsung Galaxy 4 tablet. Every manufacturer, whether it's Samsung or LG or Vizio or whoever makes the tablet, they typically will change up the design a little bit, but since it all runs on the same Android operating system, all the rules behind it are pretty much the same. So if the icons on your specific device don't look exactly the same as what's on this, it's more of a user interface difference and preference of the manufacturer, but a lot of the base functions and tips will still work across any type of Android device. So first thing is I'm here on my home screen. I can put my finger down and swipe one direction to the right or to the left, and it will switch screens. So you can actually see at the very bottom center, the little highlighted icon shows, I can see that I've got two screens. I've got my home screen, and then I've got another extra screen over to the right of it. So I can swipe between those. The one that is indicated as the home screen, all that means is when you push the home button on your device, most Android devices will have a physical button or an icon that's like the home button. If you push that, wherever you are, it's going to return you back to this home screen, whether you're inside of an application. So I'm going to open up the Google Play Store and press my home button here on my device. When I press that, it brings me back here to this screen. So you can always get back to this area from one button press on any Android device, and that home button. So typically, because of that, the apps that you access most often, you're going to want to have them sitting on this screen as well. Like I have my web browser here. If I press and hold on on an application, on an icon, I can actually reposition it and drag it around. So if you tap on it quickly, it just opens it up. If you press and hold on it without removing your finger, you can actually drag it around the screen and reorganize this. You can even, like I have this memo app here that I don't ever use, so I can actually drag this up to the top right. There's a little trash can up here, and I can remove it from my screen. Now that doesn't uninstall it, that's simply removing it from this shortcut screen. If you notice in the very bottom right corner, you've got this icon that looks like a 4x4 grid of squares. That's actually the button to show all applications. So if I press that, it actually brings me to this screen. So this is actually every app that I have installed on my tablet. I don't have too many on here, but this is actually all of them. So if I wanted to drop one of these on my home screen, it's the same concept. You just have to press down and hold on it, and it actually zooms out and gives you the ability to drop it. So I can take my bMobile app, and now it's on my home screen. So you can even do that between screens. If I want to take my Files app from this screen, if I sort of hold it over the edge of the screen, it'll change to the next screen over, and then I can drop it on there. So real quickly, I've gone and reorganized. I've got my quick support, my bMobile, my files if I ever need to get into there. I've got my web browser. I may not need too many other things. Maybe I could have a Maps application or something. That's another feature. You'll notice here, down here in the very bottom left, this one that looks like a bunch of apps stacked on top of each other. Those are actually in a folder together. So if I tap on it, there's a whole lot of apps in there. I can actually, if I wanted to put my maps back, I can just drag it and drop it on top of that, and it'll actually place it within that container with everything else. So there it is in the bottom right, my Maps application that I just dragged in there. So just a couple navigation tips. Also with things like this calendar up top, it says the time up in the top left and no events, add stock. This is what they call a widget. It's kind of like a application, but it just displays data. It's sort of just like a display. So I can add a city here. If I search for a city, and I would get weather, and it's just without actually opening up an application, it just sort of gives you information at a glance. So that's what a widget does. But if I didn't want that widget, I could press down on it, hold it, drag it up to the top, remove it, just like I did in apps. So I can totally customize the screen however I want. As far as other things, you see up in the very top right, I've got this whole series of icons. I've got the pokey looking bee icon. I've got the one that has the speaker with an arrow through it. I've got the one that looks like the signal with an up and down arrow. Got my 11%, which means my battery's getting close to dying. I've got the time. So all of those are just different notifications that mean things. You can usually get a better idea if you place your finger up on top of that and actually just swipe down from the top of the screen. It just means put your finger, it's the same action you would use if you were going left or right to change your screen, to scroll through your different pages here. You just do it from the top of the screen instead, starting at where your time is. So that on any Android device, that will pull down sort of a settings menu almost, or a quick menu. So you see again, here's like right in the middle here the icon for Bluetooth. So it's green. It means that Bluetooth is on. So I didn't need to go all the way in there to see that. Since I see that icon in the top right, I know that my Bluetooth is on. So if I turn that off and I disable it, suddenly that icon's gone. So it's just sort of a notification center to let you know what mode you're in. My sound is off, so if I use my volume button, suddenly my sound comes back. But if I go down all the way, it lets me know that my sound is off. So quick things to let you know what's going on. Also, Wi-Fi is another thing that's often up here in the very far left over here. I could turn my Wi-Fi off, and there's no internet connection, or I can turn it on again just by doing that. So you can see my Wi-Fi is back on. Now, just like we do with repositioning our applications, Android is very heavy into the press and hold function. It's different than tapping, so oftentimes icons will have more than one available use. So I can tap on Wi-Fi to turn it on or to turn it off, or I can press and hold on Wi-Fi, and it'll actually take me to my Wi-Fi menu that shows all available Wi-Fi networks in the area around me, and I can get a lot better status of, not only am I connected, but I actually know which network I'm connected to. And so if I tap on this, I can forget it, which means I disconnect and not remember my sign-in. Or if I press and hold on it, I can have options to modify it, like change the password, things like that. If I typed in my password wrong, I can press and hold and modify the settings to try to type in a new password to maybe fix it. So, if I've tried to connect but it says connecting or something. So if I try to connect to this network called bMobile 2, and I'm going to hit some letters here. This is not the password, but if I hit connect, it's going to try to authenticate, which means it's trying to use the password I just typed in to log into the Wi-Fi, and it'll probably fail here. So it didn't accept it. It's wanting me to enter a password again. Authentication error confirmed occurred, so it knows that I didn't enter the right information. But I could go into modify network config here, and I could retype my password to try to connect again. So, passwords are case sensitive. A lot of times it makes a difference whether you use a capital letter or not, so that's a very common thing. But I'm just going to stay connected to my bMobile 1 network here. So same with Bluetooth. If I turn Bluetooth on here, it actually scans and finds a list of all of the networks, or not networks, I'm sorry. It finds a list of all of the Bluetooth devices around me, or if I'm already connected to things here. So I'm connected to a scanner, and I'm connected to a Field Pro mobile printer, so I have both of those paired in my Bluetooth menus. This is where you would do that. So as far as bMobile is concerned, we usually don't do too much more in these menus other than Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. We don't really need any more access. So there are definitely other options in here, but we won't really talk too much about anything else like that. So those are the most common things: how to get to the Bluetooth menu, how to see whether I'm connected to Wi-Fi or not. If this tablet that I'm using doesn't have a cell broadcast radio in it, so I don't have 4G data or anything like that. It's only Wi-Fi. The icon up at the top looks more like a cell signal instead of the curved lines in a vertical fashion, you get more like the classical data bar type icon up there. That lets you know you're connected to data rather than connected to Wi-Fi. So it's a similar sort of thought, but the icons look a little bit different. Or you'll get bars with an X through it, maybe, if you're not connected to any sort of mobile data. So there are a couple different indicators of how that can look. Let's see here. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to talk about was up in the top left, you'll notice there are also a few other icons up there. These icons are more, they're more varied. The ones up in the top right have to do with settings, you know, is Wi-Fi on or off? Is Bluetooth on or off? Things like that don't change. The ones in the top left are notifications that you get from applications or from receiving an email or receiving a text message. So any app that you install on your tablet can potentially send you some type of notification, and those notifications always pop up in the top left. So just like we did over here in the top right, for your settings in the top left for your notifications, you can still swipe that down. It's all on the same screen, and you'll see this notification section down here, and that will tell you what the notifications actually mean. So you'll notice I've got this one that looks like a little eye. If I swipe down, I get the same icon to the left, but on the right it actually tells me what it means. Screen sharing active, TeamViewer quick support. So that's what I'm using to display my screen and to record it. And the quick support tells me that I'm connected. So if I were to get an email, I would see a notification pop up there, and I'd be able to swipe down and it would give me more information about who the email was from. So that's where notifications come up. I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up there. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions at all, give us a call. And once again, thank you for choosing bMobile.